Hi, everyone. Welcome. Welcome. Happy Sunday. Happy weekend. It's almost over, but we've got another night tonight to do something wonderful with you all. So I'm so excited to be here with you guys. I am going to make sure that we are streaming onto Facebook. So give me 1 second. And while Facebook builds an audience for us, which will be happening, there we are. Okay. So let me see here. Okay, yes. Hi, hi. Oh, here comes everybody. And I am here for a very special episode. This is actually episode 107 of the My Baby Expert Show, which I am so excited to say that. It's pretty amazing. We've been doing this for quite a long time, all the way since 2009 that we've been streaming live and bringing amazing topics to you guys. Hi, everybody. There's everyone. I love seeing all your names. And for those of you guys who don't know, we always have a lot of new people. I'm Sherry Creso. I'm a registered nurse, a certified nurse midwife, an international board certified lactation consultant. And I am the host of this amazing show here. And I have a wonderful guest sitting right next to me who I'm so excited to introduce you all to. This is Alicia Voorhees, and she is from Earth Mama Angel Baby. And Alicia is an old friend of mine who is not new to this show at all.
Hey, Siri.
Hey, welcome, Alicia. Thanks for joining us tonight.
This is so exciting. I feel like it has to be like, what, a 7-year anniversary or something for our show.
Like that. It's got to be when I think of this live show that I've been doing for a while, and I think of all the amazing guests that I've had on. The one person who always comes to the front of my mind when I think of like the best episodes, the best guests I've ever had is you. And so I'm just so happy that you're here with me to do this because we've had some really good nights together and given some really amazing information together. And so it's a great night to be able to do that with you.
Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you. We always have a great time.
We always have a great time. And Alicia and I go way back to the Twitter party days of
yesterday. Gosh. I almost forgot about that. Yes.
Do you remember? Oh
my gosh, yes.
Parties? And we were doing Twitter parties together. It's actually how we met Jamie too. All of us were doing that back in the day. And I just remember wanting to so bad to do some kind of an expert, informational program. And I said to Joe, just find a way for me to talk because that's all I want to do is talk. I don't want to type. I can't say anything in 140 characters. So find a way. And we started doing this. And it was so great to have you with us.
My gosh, it was a blast. It was my first experience with you guys.
Yeah, to do live streaming.
Yeah.
Like ahead of its time. Nobody was doing it back then. So
I know, and look at you now, out here on Facebook with all the other awesome live streamers, but you were before them.
It's so great that we can do this here on Facebook now and that we've got our amazing audience all tuning in right now and that they, just hop on their Facebook and here we are. So we actually had a really awesome milestone that we hit this week. And I just want to acknowledge that we hit 60,000 followers this week. Woohoo! So excited. And the best part about that was just knowing how many amazing parents are following us from all over the world, all over the country, and really all over the world. And I'd love to know if anyone's in the audience right now, if you're new to the page, if this is your first stream, if you're new here, just let me know because we always love to welcome new people and welcome you to our community because it's a great community of moms and dads and all kinds of amazing people that will bring you tons of information. And, whether it's from us or whether it's from the mamas and dads out there, you can count on some great advice and support. And that's what this is all about. Great support. So here we go. Some new people. Yay. Welcome, Erica. I'm so glad you're here. Yay. Okay. So everybody's joining us now. And I think, so here's the thing for tonight. We have an amazing topic and an important topic, a really important topic that we've done before in the past, but it's been years, right? And, the topic is like what to look for in baby products to have toxin-free baby products. And, obviously we can't think of everything. We can't we can't live in a bubble. That's just our world. We live in a world, in an environment filled with chemicals and toxins. So when we look at our baby products, what are the most important things to consider? What are the most important things to try to minimize that exposure to your baby, to your children? And so that's going to be the conversation tonight. And I really think it's important to at least do your best to limit it as much as possible, which we're going to get into. Tonight, too, we have some amazing prizes. It's going to be a prize night. I mean, like a big prize night tonight. So we've got amazing prizes. First of all, of course, from Earth Mama Angel Baby. So we've got a whole set of, I have it written down here, all the Angel Baby Angel Baby products for babies. So I have them actually here, lotions and the bottom balm and the shampoos. And we're going to talk about skincare in a few minutes. But someone's going to win a whole set of that and all the body washes too. And we also have from Naturepedic a changing pad and an organic changing pad and cover. And I'll show you that in a little while, but that's awesome too from Naturepedic. And we added on one more big prize. We have the Back Buddy, which my whole audience loves the back. Everybody wants a Back Buddy, okay? And I understand why. So this is the Back Buddy. And we're going to do a Back Buddy from Mom's Essential. So yay, let's get some hearts for all those amazing prizes because we got a great lineup tonight. And all you have to do to enter is like or love this post and comment here in the stream just like you're doing right now. And that will get you an entry. And we'll have 3 winners that we'll announce in a couple days. We always let people watch the replays and enter because let's face it, when you got to go to sleep, you got to go to sleep. And it's late for some of us. So we let them come enter. But anyway, tonight you have 2 registered nurses. And Alicia is a nurse and I'm a nurse. And we were talking about that before. So you got some great conversation. And I want to give Alicia a moment to be able to just give us your background and talk about, how you got started as being, one of the go-to experts in this whole area.
Thanks, Sherry. It was, I think like a lot of people, it was happenstance. I just kind of hopped into it or tripped into it or something. But I've never been your typical nurse, which obviously you aren't a typical nurse either. I always thought outside the box and tried to figure out different ways instead of just your conventional standard ways to do things. I'm also a research geek. I'm not going to apologize for loving to inhale information and keep current on things. So the thing that really was my aha moment was when my sister, Joni, she went for a work stint with her husband. They moved to South Carolina. We're in the Midwest, so we get things, the information comes a little bit slower to the Midwest. So anyway, she went to see a new pediatrician there, and she walked in and she'd pumped some breast milk, stuck it in a baby bottle so she could just whip it out and feed her little 6-month-old. Yeah. This was a long time ago in 2006. And he said, oh my gosh, the first thing you have to do is get rid of that bottle. Just throw it away right now. And she was like, what are you talking about? Yeah. And he said, there's BPA in there, and it's a chemical that causes endocrine disruption. It's like giving your baby boy a birth control pill every day. And so she called me and she goes, I think that I have a quack for a doctor, And I said, yeah, kind of sounds like it. So I went and started reading the research so I could prove him wrong. And I ended up reading over 100 different studies on it and came away completely flabbergasted about it. So I called her back and I said, he's right. We have to figure out where we can find you some BPA-free bottles. So I started making phone calls to manufacturers, and that turned into a mission. And that's what we do at thesoftlanding.com now, my sisters and I. We research products and help parents that are busy and they just need to know like which one's the better one or which one isn't. And we looked at a lot of different chemicals now. So that's how we got started doing this whole thing.
Wow, it's amazing. And, Joe's going to put up the link to your website there because it's such a great resource for everybody to be able, like you said, to look things up. And now you're at Earth Mama Angel Baby, which we absolutely love and have worked with them forever too. And just one of my favorite brands and products in the world. And love Melinda and love everything you guys are up to. So it's so exciting to see you with them and
Oh my
supporting
gosh.
such a great brand.
It's my dream job. I couldn't have tailored it or chosen it any better.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. You are
it's very
perfect.
exciting.
You're perfect for them and they're perfect for you. I can
I
totally
think so. Thanks.
totally, totally. I just want to ask, speaking of where you're located in the Midwest, I'm over here in New Jersey. I'd love to know where everybody is right now in the chat room. So if you can go ahead and post where you're watching from. We love to see all the different places. And there's Alicia's website. Joe just posted.
Oh, thanks.
Joe's over in the next room. He always sits over there. He's posting his meal. He's as soon as he hears his name, he's coming to run over to say hi. Come on over, Joe.
I already asked him where they're from.
Oh, you already asked them where they're from?
Actually, you did.
Oh, he said actually you did because he's posting as me.
Hi, everyone. I could say
There's
it again.
Joe. Okay.
Vancouver.
There we go. Everybody's posting. Fantastic. Thanks, Joe.
You got it.
All right. So let's get right to it because we got a lot to cover. And, when you think of the most important products when it comes to toxin-free products for your baby, what would be like the number one thing on your list?
Wow. The thing that another aha moment for me was I had just figured out this thing about BPA, and here I was at work giving medication through transdermal patches.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, wait a minute. We do this on purpose. We actually put things on people's skin so it'll go straight into their bloodstream.
Yes.
And I started thinking, what have I been doing, with my own kids? So I went and started checking ingredients there, and I was just stunned again.
Yeah.
Come to find out, there are no regulations for skincare ingredients. They just, what sounds good, toss it in there. There are like 10,000 different chemicals on the market. All, I'd say all but like 100 of them are untested.
Yeah.
So that's a big job for a parent. But the skin is very important, especially for the baby. And that'll come into play in a lot of different areas, like where they're sleeping, their clothing. There's a whole lot of things that we can talk about in that way.
Yeah. Absolutely. But specifically what you're referring to is anything that's put on your skin absorbs into your body. That's like what Alicia was just saying. They're transdermal patches. They actually absorb through the skin. And it just shocks me, even when I think about it, that there's just no regulations. People think that if something's on the shelf, if something is out there for you to purchase, then it has to be safe. Somebody had to test it or approve it for it to be safe to put on your body. And that's just not the truth. Unlike, when we think about foods, it's a whole different regulatory system.
Very much so. And think about it. Your doctor gives you these things when you go to the hospital.
Right.
You know the little pink bottle? It's just like, oh, well, the doctor gave me this, so it must be okay. Right?
Totally.
Yeah.
And
so
it's really the onus is on you to really do your research, or to know that you're going to buy products from a company that you can trust, that they at least are going to give you products that are 100% safe for yourself or your family.
Yeah. And something that I've learned over the years with Earth Mama is it means something when a company goes to the extra effort to have a third party come in and kind of go through their underwear drawer and say, okay, here's this ingredient. Where did it come from? That's what organic certification does. They track it back to the farm, and they track it all the way into the hand of the mama that's buying it and putting it on her baby. So it's a big deal when you have somebody else grading your paper instead of, just grading your own paper with that red pen. I got an A+.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's so many confusing terms that people use, like natural, right? You really need to know what to look for when we're looking at organic, certified organic versus something that just says natural.
Yeah, or even organic.
Or even organic. It's crazy.
In the name.
It's completely crazy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to skin products, even for a baby, it's even more important, right?
It is because especially in the beginning, I saw that somebody asked about sunscreen for babies that are 6 months and younger.
Yes.
And the reason that they usually recommend against using that is because their skin is so much thinner, and they do absorb a lot more just straight into the bloodstream. So you have to be very careful about what you're putting on skin. And that's the same situation in, for preemie babies that are in the neonatal intensive care unit. They
Yes.
need to have the ultimately safe products so that they have a fighting chance to be healthy and their bodies aren't overwhelmed with this toxic burden.
Totally. Yeah, when it comes to young babies, preemies, very new babies, not only is their skin thin, but then they don't detox the same way either. Their livers are not functioning the same way. Their bodies can become very overwhelmed with the toxins and chemicals that are in there.
That's right. And you just made me think of why we also recommend safe skincare for pregnant mamas.
Yes.
Because those things that we're putting on our faces, sometimes those facial serums that have vitamin A,
Yeah.
very toxic. If you look on EWG's Skin Deep database, you'll see that it's rated an 8 to a 10 out of 10 for the danger. And that's because it can actually go into the bloodstream and cross the placental barrier and cause damage to
Yeah.
a baby. So it's important to think about that when they're developing, especially. They're eating and sleeping and breathing 5 times more than an adult who's already done growing. So
Yeah.
they are taking in an awful lot.
Absolutely. And it's good to start considering some of these things preconceptually. So like before you even have the baby, to start, thinking about what are the products I'm putting on my skin, from makeup to moisturizers to shampoos and lotions and oils. All those things are going to absorb into your skin, and they do build up, and then you wind up getting pregnant. It's in your body, it's in your circulation. And on top of that, sometimes you don't always know you're pregnant right away. And the most critical time is the first trimester, when all the major organs are developing. So it's really good practice that if you're considering having a baby and might get pregnant, to start. Actually, it's better to do it all the time for yourself, but especially if you think that you're going to be pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When we talk about pregnancy, there was a question here that I was going to ask you. What are some of the toxins? Well, just in general, what are some of the toxins that we're trying to avoid?
I think there are 2 major categories. They would be endocrine disrupting. So
Yes.
they either mimic hormones and kind of jump in there and take the place of real hormones, and they flip switches where they shouldn't be flipping switches during critical developmental phases for growing kids. And then there are the ones that actually are well-known carcinogens. And those are pretty scary. But basically, when you're looking at baby products and gear, skincare, mattresses, whatever you're thinking about, you want to look at the ones that are bioaccumulative, which would be heavy metals and fire retardants. They don't go away. There are good flame retardants, and there are also different kinds of ways to prevent fires, which we'll learn more about.
Right.
But it's so important not to be giving them. Oh yeah, something else I just thought of is that toxic burden we talked about.
Yeah.
They come preloaded. The babies do. They're born with like over 100 toxins in their umbilical cord blood. They've been tested. So they've already got, a fight. So it's important for us to keep them free of those flame retardants, heavy metals, like lead. And then we also have those endocrine disrupting chemicals. I mentioned BPA, but also phthalates are a huge problem. Parabens, and they're in fragrances, they're in some plastics, and they're definitely in some foams.
Yeah. You were talking about the chemicals that babies are born with, that they're born with all those chemicals to start off with. And, so even small things that you wouldn't even necessarily consider, like it's something simple like your deodorant.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, for sure. Talking about another metal. They're aluminum. They're just full of aluminum and parabens, which have that actually has been found in breast cancer tumors. Parabens have. They go in, they take a biopsy, they sample it, and oh my gosh, there's parabens in there. For sure. Deodorant's kind of a big one.
It's a really big one. It's a really big one. And there's some really great deodorants on the market that you can get that are aluminum free. that you can do without the heavy metals and all the toxins. And it's one of the best ones to switch over right away. If you're going to start with something, start with that.
Yeah, and it is tough to get used to. I mean,
It is.
people call you like super crunchy if you're wearing the deodorant. You actually have to wash your armpits, in the middle of the day and then put it back on. I know it's a pain, but it's worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially for all that aluminum.
Mm-hmm.
Can we go back to the sunscreens for a minute, because we didn't really touch on it too much. What's the deal with sunscreen? That was one of the questions that was posted, and I know a lot as we're getting into the summer months now, and I know moms are going to be looking to put sunscreens on their baby, and that just goes right along with everything we're saying about the lotions and creams. And what's the idea here? We're looking for lower SPFs, right?
It kind of depends. There is a big movement and a lot more education in the arena of sunscreens and how SPFs actually work,
Yeah.
and I will say there's a little bit more regulation happening with that, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, there are two different kinds of sunscreen. One is a chemical sunscreen that
Yes.
soaks into your skin, and the chemicals actually cause you to be not as photosensitive. We don't want those. Those are the ones you want to stay away from, the oxybenzone, and there's a lot of different chemicals. What you want to go with is the zinc, usually, and it's a barrier. It just sits on top of the skin,
Yes.
and it just reflects the sun. And of course, you don't want any other additional chemicals like the synthetic fragrance chemicals,
Right.
and things like that. But the big thing is to go with bigger particles, not nanoparticles, larger particles of zinc that sit on top of the skin. And there's some amazing ones out there on the market.
Great. And going with a higher SPF, so is that not true anymore to go with a lower SPF, or not really?
I think that you can still find an SPF 30, and even a 45, like from Goddess Garden or
Okay.
Badger Balm, and they're okay.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
good to know. That's really good to know. What I'd love to ask the audience, what are you doing right now in your life? Where are you actually considering toxins? Where have you made any shifts? Whether it's your deodorant, maybe it's your baby's body wash. Where are you actually using toxin-free products right now? And what are you listening to now and saying, hey, I need to do more of that? So I'd love to just get a little bit of feedback from everybody in the audience there and see where everybody's at. Okay, let's move on to mattresses, because this is one that we talk about it often. We work with Naturepedic, and they have amazing organic mattresses, but a lot of people are not aware of what kind of toxins, chemicals are in the mattresses and that you're actually breathing in. So I'd love for us to talk about that for a little bit.
When we talked, I mentioned skincare first because that was the first thing I thought of. I think the second thing that I would recommend for parents looking at is absolutely the mattress. If you think about it, they are spending how many hours a day in direct contact with that mattress?
Yes.
It's an excellent investment if you're planning ahead of time. It's much more important than making sure that your bedspread matches your curtains, and the throw that's on your rocking chair.
So true.
So, very important. There are chemicals in the mattress sometimes, and there are also chemicals in the wrapping, the cover. A lot of mattresses are wrapped in PVC plastic, which is absolutely the most toxic plastic on the planet. It's full of lead and it's full of phthalates. That's what makes it flexible. And it actually sloughs off over time. So those chemicals are in the dust in the room. They're in the dust on the bed. And then the polyurethane foam, which there are a couple of good brands of polyurethane foam that come to light recently that I just learned about that are certified pure of all of those contaminants. But most of the time, regular mattresses are made from icky, super loaded with volatile organic compounds that are off-gassing. They're full of lead, flame retardants, and it's just scary to think about, what can possibly happen.
It's so scary. There's just so many, again, when we talked about before, the stuff that you're overloaded with, and thinking about where you're going to cover the most amount of your body with, or where you're going to be spending a lot of time, and mattresses and that off gassing and breathing it in is one of those things. Just
Absolutely.
One of those things. And you brought up such a good point while you were saying that, is that, if you're going to invest your money into something, do it in the areas where it really matters, and it drives me crazy when I hear moms talking about, buying cheap mattresses, buying cheap car seats, and even the car seats, you want to consider the foam that's in the car seats as well. But and then spending a lot of money on, a really expensive stroller or a diaper bag or all these other things that may not matter as much. It really comes down to like the priorities of like where you're going to put the priority.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing that Melinda, the founder of Earth Mama, taught me many years ago when I get flustered and upset about it, she would say, listen, when mamas know better, they do better. So it's okay that you don't do everything all at once. Every little change that we make makes a huge impact for your baby and for your family. But once you know better, then you do better. You make better choices.
Absolutely. And, we were just talking about that before the show. Alicia and I were just kind of going over our own parenting and just saying, there are things that we wish you could go back and change and we just didn't know. But when it got brought to our awareness, that's Alicia and I, is to read everything on the subject. When the thought came up or somebody introduced us to an idea, not to just go, whatever, you're going to have toxins everywhere. We know that you can't avoid it, but minimizing it can make a big difference. And we really don't know the long-term health risks to all these things. We haven't studied it long enough to know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there are some things, back to synthetic fragrances, that have been documented. If you think about it, one of the most problematic things as far as indoor air and toxins that our babies are breathing are dryer sheets. They contaminate the indoor air so much that they actually have linked it to the development of asthma in children.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's simple. You just don't need to use it. It's no big deal. Throw some vinegar in with your towels. It softens them right up.
And let me just say this, if you knew what a dryer sheet was actually made of, you wouldn't want to throw it all over your clothes and have it rubbed all over your clothes anyway.
No, and it stays there. It stays there for ages. And, I did some research a couple years ago when I first learned about this whole asthma thing. And I was like, well, just use the fragrance-free ones. Well, guess what? They actually still have fragrance, most of them. They just use a masking chemical. What? So they don't want you to smell the natural oils and things like that in it. That actually happens with our baby lotion and things too. You go buy a fragrance-free one, and a lot of times it's actually still has fragrance. It's just a masking chemical so that you don't smell anything. I know.
It's just so crazy. Oh my God. Well, and so let's just, for a second, we were talking about the mattresses, and that goes for foams as well, right? So, because the foams that are in certain products like pillows or even, and that's one of the reasons, we have the Back Buddy here too, because there's foams in all these products. What's the deal with foam?
Polyurethane foam is almost always what's used for a formed type of pillow or mattress.
So you're talking like breastfeed, like nursing pillows.
Yeah, and nursing pillows, very common. So once again, we have all of these. We have really toxic formaldehyde-based adhesives. We've got flame retardants, because there are rules for these foams and things, Sometimes you can find them that don't have halogenated flame retardants. You can get halogenated free. That's a good thing. Yeah. But I know that Naturepedic specifically uses their own system to create a flame retardant without chemicals. And I just think it's brilliant.
Yes.
And then companies like the Back Buddy Pillow Company, they are totally on top of having their polyurethane foam certified. So it's lead free, it's VOC or volatile organic compound free. It's flame retardant free. And I just love that they've gone the extra mile to do that and to have it certified.
And it's really important, and it's one of the reasons we've had the Back Buddy on with us so many times. We talk about it when it comes to like positioning, breastfeeding, and all the other things. But there was tonight, I thought, we need to talk about what is another part of this pillow that makes it this pillow makes it so special. And because, there are competitors out there, there's other companies that make back pillows, and this is where they stand apart, is that,
Absolutely.
you're putting this next to your body. The way that it's even built with like see how it kind of hugs your body there, so you're sitting in it. What do you think is going to happen? You're breastfeeding, and so your baby's face is going to be right next to this arm thing here.
Totally.
And it's going to be off-gassing. And this is why I know Laura, who owns Back Buddy, goes the extra mile to make sure that it's totally organic certified, toxin certified. It's a CertiPure is a certification that ensures that there's none of those hazardous ingredients inside of the foam. So
Yep. It's fantastic. We included them on the soft landing, my sisters and I, in a guide because they're so amazing.
Awesome.
For nursing pillows.
Yeah.
Yep.
We have some of those links, Joe. I'd love to put some of the links up to the soft landing right there into the chat, because everybody's going, wow,
We have fragrance chemicals.
just start putting some of them up, because I think these are some really great resources that will, we're going over so much right now, and I want everybody to be able to go back and do the reading that we're talking about, do the research. Alicia's giving you some really great resources and links, and they'll be right here in the chat for later, so that you guys can go do a little bit more reading and look up your products and say, hey, I'm thinking about buying something. I wonder how this rates. I wonder if what this has in it. And that's what makes the soft landing such a great resource for everybody.
Thank you. Yeah. And it's a hard-earned information, for you and I both. Like you said, we go out and we make the phone calls, we stop in and see the manufacturers, and that's how I even came across Earth Mama in 2007. I was looking around and thinking, what am I going to do about skincare now? Because I know I can't find out any information. Nobody knows anything.
Yeah.
So I just picked up the phone because I did one search and I could see that they were the industry leader for truly safe skincare that was so wonderfully infused with herbs and healing.
Yep.
Foundational plant-based things. And Melinda, the founder, just happened to pick up the phone. And she's a nurse and an herbalist too, so she's in our club. Crazy nurses.
We're in the nurse club here. We're the nurse club.
Yeah. I wonder who else is in the nurse club. Anybody out there?
Yeah, if you're a nurse, let's hear. You can join the club with us.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
I agree with you. It was one of the reasons why I, worked with Melinda and just love the product, have always loved the product. I recommend it to everyone. I sold it in my store when I had a store for years and years, and felt so good because I knew that every product that we lined the shelves with that were Earth Mama, I could trust it. I didn't have to worry about it. I knew somebody else was taking care. It's like somebody watching over and saying, here, we're going to take care of you. This is our product and you can trust it. And that's the best thing in the world. And they make a lot. What we're showing here is all the baby stuff, but they've got a whole line of breastfeeding products. They got the best nipple cream, best nipple butter on the market. Love it. And then also products for postpartum, for pregnancy, just so that you can really use non-toxic products throughout and beyond. Speaking of nipple cream, let's talk about nipple cream and nipple butter and why. Okay, because when I think of my top products that I would want to have chemical free, it comes down to like lotions and creams, mattresses, and then one of them on the list is your nipple cream, because you're literally putting it onto your breasts, onto your own skin, but then you're also putting it into your baby's mouth. And so, one of the questions that always comes up is why no lanolin? Because these are lanolin free, and we go to the point of saying that they're lanolin free, and why do we want to avoid it?
Well, that was an interesting thing for me to become aware of, because I always used lanolin when I was breastfeeding my babies way back when. And I finally figured out, once I started doing some research, I asked Melinda, like, what the heck? Why is it that big of a deal,
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, lanolin comes from the sebum of sheep.
Yes.
And which doesn't make me, it doesn't bother me that much, because we do, we eat bacon and whatever. But these sheep, they get buggy and they have to be sprayed often with insecticides.
Yes.
And so then when you're concentrating that and you're taking the lanolin from the sebum, it's very common for it to be.
Can you explain what sebum is for everybody so they can understand? Because
It's just
what
skin
we're saying
oil.
here,
It
these are
sounds
not like,
disgusting.
yeah, go ahead. What is it?
It sounds disgusting, but it's really not. It's just the oils, that their skin produces.
Off
That's
the
all.
skin of the sheep. Yes.
Yes, yeah. So, and it's a really great oil, but a lot of times, they're not pesticide or insecticide free. They've been
Yes.
sprayed. Their skin's been sprayed.
Yes.
And so when it's being harvested and it's being purified, it's being concentrated. You can't get
Yeah.
the pesticides out. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
one of the reasons. Also, lanolin is very sticky. If you ever, I mean, I was always like, oh, when I was really sore.
I used to have to sit on the jar or on the tube to warm it up just so I could
Oh,
squeeze
yeah.
it out. And then it wasn't very comfortable rubbing it on my nipples either when they were sore and I needed it. Also, it didn't feel like had a lot of heal. It wasn't really doing anything to heal the nipple the way that the nipple butter, the Earth Mama nipple butter would do.
Yeah, yeah.
Calendula in it, other herbs that really work to heal the skin.
Yep. And it's the first and only non-GMO project verified nipple cream on the market. And that's because we think babies deserve a GMO-free lunch too,
Yeah.
So, and you don't have to wipe it off. Just stick it on there and you're good to go. And people also use it for lubing the flanges of their breast
Yes.
pumps, for that suction. When you go pop, it's really nice when you have a little bit of lube on there.
Yes, we all know that pop.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. So are these we're talking about all these different products. Is there a way to do non-toxic, safer products and not break the bank? Because everybody thinks, organic, more expensive. It's impossible to do. Again, we talked about, priorities and figuring out where would you save money and where do you not try to skimp? But can you do this without breaking the bank?
Yeah, and that's a question that we hear quite often. For babies specifically, less is always better. Always, always, always. So they need fewer skincare products. They need less being, put on their skins. Skin. They don't need to be bathed every single day. So it kind of works out well. If you get like an Earth Mama soap, body wash and shampoo, for the baby, there's 300 pumps in that one little bottle, that little 5-ounce bottle. It lasts forever.
Yeah.
And so the babies are totally delicious when they get done bathing. And, I always take a little bit of that. It's actually Castile-based soap. And I mix it with baking soda and I scrub the bathtub before I put them in there. And then, it's totally non-toxic and safe too.
You're going to laugh. Do you know what I use to wash my face and moisturize my face?
What?
I use Earth Mama. I use the soap to wash my face in the shower with the Castile soap, and then I use the body butter as a moisturizer on my face.
Oh, all the time. That's my under eye cream, right?
Oh, Georgia said so do I.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I originally I started doing it because I felt like, well, I just want to avoid using moisturizer that has toxins in it. But I actually noticed that my skin looked better when I started using that on my face rather than the expensive Lancome other moisturizers that had all these toxins and parabens and everything else in it. My skin looked better.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. And I've been doing the same thing. You know what else I use in between washing with the body wash? I use the New Mama bottom spray for my facial toner. And after I shave my legs, that's what goes on there, and my underarms. They all get a nice little spray.
The bottom spray is the best thing ever.
It's an all-around first aid spray too. It's great for little ouchies on knees, when they fall down and scrape them and they get a little sunburn. It's just perfect.
So great. So great.
I know.
I love the bottom spray. It was one of my favorite things when I had my second baby. I didn't know about it with my first. And when I had my second, I said, oh my God, where have you been all my life?
Right? You don't go to the bathroom without it. You take that and then you take your Mama bottom balm and you have it there. They're little companions and they go with you.
My God, totally. Yeah. So what do you guys, I'm going to go to the audience for a minute. First of all, I want to get some hearts. We've just given you a ton of information and we're not done yet, but I would love to see some hearts. We always love to see hearts as we give good content and information, something that you're learning. Are you learning something? Tell me what you learned tonight. Give me one thing that was different that you learned that you didn't know. Joe has something to say. He's coming into the room. He's coming into the room and going.
Come on in, Joe.
Before you asked his nurse about those.
Oh, really? We didn't. He said
Yeah.
before we asked who was a nurse, and a whole bunch of people said that they were nurses. So
Oh my
that's awesome. Hey, can you guys do it again? Can you tell us who's a nurse? Because we missed it. We got too deep in our conversation. I didn't get to see it. But I would love to know if you're a nurse. Yeah.
Oh, I see Jamie. Jamie's a nurse. Oh, Nadia.
Amazing.
Pippi.
You know what? We actually have a lot of nurses and doulas and midwives following our page. What was one thing that we really noticed, that we have a lot of nurses following our page, and I love that. I love that. Just, because not only will they be making choices that will be good for their families, for their babies, but when you're a nurse and you're working with other people, you have an opportunity to look at amazing.
I know.
Okay.
I'm blown away.
Yeah, so you have an opportunity to really share this information the way Alicia and I are doing right now. As nurses, we have that rare and, privilege to be able to teach others about their health. And I really just go ahead and share this information, whether you share this video here and you can share this, tag your friends on this after we're done, or you can actually share it right from here. But just the information itself, to start talking about it. I think people just need more awareness. It's not out there.
I agree. And that's something, there's kind of an awakening happening across the country, and especially with nurses. We actually have another amazing nurse on staff at Earth Mama.
Oh, wow.
And her sole job is to field all the requests coming from nurses in the hospital setting. So they're saying, listen, we know that we need non-toxic products in here. And so it's very exciting to see what's happening across the country.
Earth Mama actually is in several hospitals too.
Oh, yeah. Several hospital systems, big ones. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw someone left a comment on your post. I think it was yesterday, saying, when they went to the hospital, that's what they got, was Earth Mama.
I saw that. It's so exciting. It's so exciting to see how far it's coming.
Yeah, for sure.
So, what about, because, you see a lot of things out there that are organic. Like when it comes to things like clothing, is that something that we need to worry about or not? Because I've always had kind of mixed information about that.
Well, I have to tell you, I always divide things into categories, I guess, of priorities. And I think the first priority is to move away from synthetic clothing if you can. Almost everything's made from plastic now. It's polyester,
Right.
and it's not the end of the world to use those clothes, but it is harder on your skin, and it is on the baby's skin. And they are being exposed to more things, from the plastic clothing. And so they always have processing chemicals and things like that in it. So moving to cotton or bamboo or hemp is amazing. But then you also have to take into consideration that cotton clothing is one of the most heavily sprayed with pesticides. The crops that are most heavily, it's only like a 2 to 3% of the market is cotton clothing. But do you know that 25% of the pesticides used are used on the cotton clothing? The cotton that's grown for clothing.
I did not know that. Wow.
It's very out of whack. So I do believe if you can get a few, just, have you heard of capsule wardrobes where you've got pieces? There's 8 pieces. They're interchangeable. They're great foundational pieces. That's a way to start if you don't have a whole lot of money to invest in organic clothes for kids. And I would say get basics.
When you take those 100% cotton clothes that are not organic and you wash them, does it come out of the clothing?
Pesticides and insecticides are very persistent. They're hard to get out. Same with those dryer sheets, the chemicals that get on your clothes.
Yeah.
Once they're on there, it's very hard to get those out of there.
Gotcha.
So I don't know. Secondhand cotton clothing is probably actually a great option if you're trying to save money, because it's been washed so many times.
That's okay. Well, there you go. So secondhand cotton clothing is actually safer and probably better because you've already gone through the washing process that many times.
Yeah.
And babies grow out of their clothes super fast. So you're going to kind of like, you're going to save money. You're not going, now you can put that money towards a great organic mattress
Yes.
or an organic back buddy, non-toxic products. And I love that, secondhand cotton clothing.
Yep. I think it's a great choice. They're going to be in it a lot, just like they're going to be on their mattress a lot.
Definitely. So speaking of the clothing, what about laundry detergents? Because this drives me crazy. Like, when it comes to like parents thinking, well, I bought the draft. I'm all set. I'm all set with my draft.
Let me tell you, Draft has done an amazing job of marketing. And if you go look them up, EWG, the Environmental Working Group, has a kind of a cleaning product guide. It gets a full-blown F, Draft does. And it upsets me because they're marketing so well to parents. And it's gentle and it's easy and it won't give your baby a rash or any kind of allergic reaction. Wrong. So there are so many amazing brands out there that they're not petroleum based. They don't have a bunch of brighteners and dyes and other things. Like Molly Suds is what I use. I think they're amazing. They're very careful with what they do. There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
So, but do be especially careful of the fragrances too when you're buying laundry detergent, because that gets in the clothes and babies are breathing it and soaking it up. And there was another article on the Soft Landing about how really I believe that the fragrance chemicals are the new secondhand smoke.
Right.
It gives me a headache. Do you ever get on an airplane next to a person that's wearing a ton of cologne or perfume?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like instant migraine for me. And there's a reason for that. It's a bunch of chemicals. Just the term fragrance is allowed to legally hide over 3,000 different chemicals. They don't even have to tell you what they are.
It's unbelievable. It's like a toxic soup.
It is. But we can dig out of it. We can make better choices.
And it won't even be all in one night tonight, even this conversation. We have a little bit more to go, but there's no way to discuss all of it in one night. We're going to break this into segments, like tonight talking about baby products and things that you can avoid that are most important. We're going to talk about foods in another segment, and there's topics like, just how to improve air quality in your house and cleaning products. And there's just so much that you could start to chip away.
Yes,
and that's the point, is that we start to learn, we start to eliminate, we start to replace. And then before you know it, we've reduced our exposure by that much more.
Yeah. And we're just so much healthier for it. It lets their little bodies and immune systems work the way they're supposed to.
Yeah. Yeah. So that brings up a topic that I love, and I wish, this is why I love to talk about this topic, because it was one of the things when I look back at my own children who are now 15 and almost 13.
Wow.
And I think, what's one thing if I could have done differently that I would have done, and that would have been their diapers. If I could go back and change one thing, I would have questioned a lot more about disposable diapers. And it's so funny because my sister, who actually had her kids the same times I did, was cloth diapering. But back then, the cloth diapers were not the way they are now. And they looked all, complicated to me. And when I said to her, why are you doing this? Her answer was, well, it's really good for the environment. It's saving me money. It's really good for the environment. It's saving me money. And I'm like, okay, I love the environment and I'd love to save some money, but I've got like bleeding nipples right now and I'm trying to deal with a newborn and I couldn't do one more thing. And had she even said to me for one moment, because I know myself, if she had just said, there are chemicals in the diapers, and so it's really much better for their health. Like a light bulb would have gone off, like, well, let me look into this. And I probably would have cloth diaper, but nobody ever said to me, wow, there's chemicals in disposable diapers. And just like everything else we just talked about, I thought, well, if they make these for babies, then they must be safe. I never even for a minute thought, well, what kind of chemicals? And actually, 15 and 13 years ago, there were less chemicals in the diapers than there are today. And so, the diapers are really have a lot in them. So let's talk a little bit about And if anybody is in the chat room right now and you're cloth diapering, I'd love to hear from you because I know we have a lot of cloth diapering mamas, and it's a really great thing. And we're going to actually do a whole episode again on cloth diapers because we need to talk about this. And so let's talk a little bit about the chemicals that are in disposable diapers. And I actually pulled up to see exactly what were all the list of everything in there.
Yeah. What'd you find?
Well, I found dioxin. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the dioxin that's in the diapers, and that's the chlorine turns into a byproduct of dioxin, which is carcinogenic.
Yep.
And one of the most carcinogenic things out there, dioxin, and that's in there. And then the sodium polyacrylate, which are the little gel beads that are in there. And everybody who uses disposable diapers knows what that is. It's the little gel beads that will hold 30 times their weight in urine. Okay, which is why, Pampers actually has commercials that say play all day. And what they're saying is you never have to change your baby because we've got all these chemicals in the diaper that will hold all this urine, which is not a good idea at all. And when you change your baby and you see these little diamond crystals that come through the diaper and they're like on the baby's skin, that's actually the sodium polyacrylate, which then, like Alicia explained to everybody earlier, the baby's skin is very porous and it does absorb all of that. And that's the same chemical that was banned from tampons because it causes toxic shock syndrome.
It's crazy. And I did the same thing you did. My oldest is 23 and I had no idea. Why would there be chemicals in a diaper that sits on a baby's bottom? It gets wet repeatedly.
Yes.
It's exposed to urine, which is, acidic, and obviously it's going to break that diaper down. And I also still have flashbacks to my, I have 3 younger sisters, and guess who changed their cloth diapers? I did. And it was hard, and those safety pins, and I was like, I am not doing that, If I had known though, I just think about it. And the cloth diapering now is just amazing. And there also are some good hybrids out there, that you can kind of do a little bit of both.
Yep.
And there are companies that don't use all those chemicals too, like Bamboo, and they don't bleach, the stuff, so there's no dioxin and things like that.
The thing about the diapers too is that, like we were saying, mattresses, they spend so much time on their mattresses for years. But when I think of like the one thing that actually is sitting on your baby 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, from the moment they're born, within the hour that they're born, it goes on them and never really comes off except for a bath. Okay. For years, it can be years that they're sitting in those plastic diapers. It's the diaper. And so and the thing about cloth diapering is that it's not all or nothing. So it doesn't mean, unlike with breastfeeding, where if you go like, all day without breastfeeding, your milk supply is going to tank. So you kind of had to keep up with it. With cloth diapering, you could be cloth diapering just at night when they're sleeping, and during the day or when you go out, you could use some of these chlorine-free, safer type disposables or hybrids like Alicia just mentioned, or even if you use a regular diaper that you're using now and then just use cloth at night when they're sleeping, you're reducing their exposure to those chemicals by 50% over years.
Absolutely.
And it's going to save you money and it's good for the environment.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always secondary for me too, Sherry. You're not the only one.
It's the last day of Earth Month, so we have to say it's good for the environment too.
Right. Whenever you make good choices like this, you're secondarily taking care of the earth too. So it's good.
Totally. No, the diapers are a big one. Somebody asked, I want to do it, but I know nothing about it. Joe, can you post up the link? I have an entire DVD program. It's an online course that is cloth diapering. And the reason, I have 3 courses. It's simply breastfeeding, breast pumps and briefcases, and cloth diapering. And that's because when I had my store, it was just such a passion of mine to teach parents about cloth diapers, because it's just, there's nothing negative I could ever say about a cloth diaper. It just has all these positive things, including saving you all this money and the environment and their health. and they're super cute. And so I used to teach this class in my store about cloth diapers. It's a cloth diapering class for parents who don't know about cloth diapering and want to try it. It gives you really everything you need to know, including like we're standing in the laundry room at the washing machine and showing you exactly how easy it is and exactly what to do step by step. So it's a great resource there. Joe just posted it. If anybody's interested, go over and check it out. But it's one of those things I wish I had known.
Yep, I'm right there with you on that one.
Yeah, we're gonna have another. We're gonna do a whole show on cloth diapers.
I think it's worth it.
Kim from Grovia had said she wanted to come on and do this with us, and they're a great company. I
love that company.
Yeah, I love their hybrid diapers. You were talking about being able to use like, the inserts and the hybrids, and there's just so many good things. So,
there's something else too that I realized all of my younger sisters, they mostly cloth diapered.
Yeah.
And because I was like, you gotta do this, you can't do what I did,
Yeah.
But their kids, they feel it when they go potty, and they potty train faster.
They do.
Because they're not completely, it's not completely absorbed. So there are good things for it too, for their sensory learning and stuff.
You actually need to use less creams and lotions. Your babies, you don't realize, but when they use those disposable diapers, sometimes you'll take the diaper off, and I've done this during consultations. I'll have parents come in with their newborns, we'll change the baby's diaper, and everywhere that the diaper is touching, the skin is red.
Yep.
And I'll say, you see how the baby's all red? And they're like, oh, I thought the baby was supposed to be like that. Well, no, where the diaper touches is not like a different color than the rest of their body. They shouldn't be red. And that's actually the skin reacting to the chemicals that are in the diaper. It's not diaper rash. It's a chemical reaction. Some babies even have it even worse than others, where they can actually have chemical burns from the diapers.
Yes, I've seen that.
I've seen that too. And, I actually think when I think back to my oldest, I feel like she was having some major reactions to the diaper. She was constantly red and diaper rash. And I was changing her so frequently and just nothing worked. And it was probably a reaction to the diaper.
It probably was. I know that my kids had issues with it.
Yeah. So, it's a really good information. I love that. And would you guys like to see a cloth diapering episode here? I think we should do one at some point.
For sure.
Yeah, I think we should do one. Let's get some hearts going across the screen. We just gave you like a ton of great information. And I think that this is a great place to start for some of you guys to like start making some small changes that turn into really big changes. These may seem small, but they'll have big impact. Just changing your deodorant and getting rid of aluminum that causes Alzheimer's and other problems, things that you may not be thinking about right now that can affect you later on in your life. Those are the kind of things we want to really focus on. It's a real thing. So.
And it's doable.
And it's very doable. It's very doable. You do not have to live in a bubble.
Nope.
No. Alicia, I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you for being on with us today. It was as always such a great time, and such a wealth of information you are. And thank you for sharing it with the whole audience here.
Thank you for having me. I loved it. It's about time.
It's so
we needed to do this, didn't we?
What'd you say?
We needed to do this. It was time.
We've been needing to do this. We're going to do it again soon. So I'm going to be bugging you to come back and do another show with me. I think we need to talk about foods and a couple other things that I have in mind. So did everybody enjoy this? Did you guys learn something? And did you love everything that we just talked about? I did. And don't forget to love this post, comment here. We're going to have 3 winners. Please go over to Earth Mama Facebook page, Naturepedic, and Back Buddy, and give them lots and lots of love, and just thank them for the amazing prizes and all that they're doing for all of us by really creating safe and environmentally and also health conscious products, so that we can make our babies safer and healthier, and we can make good choices and know that we can trust a brand. So thank you for all the work you do, Alicia.
Oh my gosh. Same for you, Sherry.
Thank you. Thanks.
Great.
All right, so we're going to say goodnight for now, and we'll be back this week with something. This week, I don't know yet, but but I'm planning something this week. It'll be a surprise. All right, I love you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. What's left of your weekend, and cuddle your babies. And I'll see you soon. Mwah. Bye, everybody.
Bye.